Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Has there been a new step found for the Raven or Crow Easter egg on Der Eisendrache? Well, let's discuss. First, a brief recap of what we have in the map. So, on current gen, that's Xbox One, PS4 and PC, you can find a Raven perched atop the little overhanging roof above Mulekick. There are also stuffed ravens on various parts of the map. There are also paintings of ravens in various places on the map, and all of this has had a lot of people speculating that there's got to be some bigger Easter egg here, some more significant thing buried for us to figure out. So that is the idea, the premise, not the premise, though it's close, the premise going into this. Now, Der Eisendrache had dropped on PS3, and as you all know, I'm sure, on previous gen versions of the game of Call of Duty, and this applies to things like Advanced Warfare as well, it is bare bones. It is so bare bones that, for example, in Advanced Warfare, pretty much everything that wasn't required for the Easter egg was removed from the map, and so there would be bits and pieces dotted around that would stick out like a complete sore thumb, because straight away you'd go, what? That doesn't fit in there. Well, must be to do with the Easter egg then. It happened multiple times in Advanced Warfare, and it's maybe happening again now. The reason I say that is that on the previous gen version of the game, alongside all the hilarious stuff with the golden ray gun and the terrible, terrible cutscene, the cutscene is pretty damn funny, I must admit, alongside all of that, the Raven is gone. It's disappeared. The Raven picture is gone. It's disappeared. The stuffed ravens are no longer there. And so several people have tweeted me and said, this means that we've confirmed that there is indeed a Raven Easter egg and it's current gen only. On top of that, several other people have said they are the only things on the map that have been removed. The main differences are the things like the Raven above Mulekick and the painting of the Raven and things. Apparently the other paintings are still there. But this has left me scratching my head because I followed up personally with Codename Pizza, who very kindly took a load of screenshots for me and was really helpful throughout all of this, so thanks, bud. And in the screenshots that he sent, it certainly looks like there's a whole lot more than just the ravens missing. So what you're going to see in this little bit of the video is a comparison between the current gen, and they're actually taken on PC, these particular images, because they're on my machine, and the last gen versions of Der Eisendrache. You're going to see that, for example, in Samantha's room, or rather in Max's house, the living quarters, whatever you want to call it, in there, if you compare current gen, which we had obviously released a couple months ago, to last gen, I mean, it looks like Samantha's been doing some spring cleaning, man. She's got rid of all her paintings. She's got rid of all the paper on the floor. It's all gone. It's all been put in the trash or whatever. And it's pretty damn bare bones, like I was saying a moment ago. So that makes me think, hold on, maybe the Raven not being there isn't so significant after all. And we can keep going through other areas of the map, for example, the spawn, the posters in the spawn that are there on current gen, talking about Der Eisendrache with an N on the end. Those posters have gone, they're not there. Some of the posters remain, I must give you that. There are some that are the same, and they are across both platforms, or rather, both generations, but a lot of them are also gone. So they've disappeared. There are also things like these stuffed animals, for example. They've gone, they're no longer there. The shields on the walls, the crests in this room, they're gone, not there at all. The book on the table in the room above Mulekick, the urn room, that's not there. The book isn't there in Groff's room either when you're doing the Easter egg and you've got to hold square on the book to get to the actual box with the keeper stone in it. That book isn't there either as far as I'm aware. And so there's clearly loads of stuff that is not in the old gen version, including the painting of the Raven, the stuffed ravens, and the Raven above Mulekick. So I'm sure you're wondering, MrRoflWaffles, does this mean there's no Raven Easter egg? Does this mean it means nothing? Well, let's just hold the phone for a minute and think back to Shadows of Evil. In Shadows of Evil, there is a green streetlight on current gen in the docks area. It's not there on last gen, to the best of my knowledge. The reason it's not there is that it is not a significant Easter egg. But it is still very much a reference to something, specifically The Great Gatsby, and it shouldn't just be taken as nonsensical, useless information. It's very much something that we should be considering as we think about the map, by all means. It's a small thing, but it's a thing nonetheless. It's not a grand, massively consequential Easter egg, like for example the plunger is still not the main quest, but regardless, it changes the gameplay a lot because you can wield a damn plunger. So I think you take my point. Just judging by the evidence alone, the fact that the Raven is not there on last gen suggests, in my mind, that this is most likely not a massively consequential Easter egg, but rather something to be considered for its lore implications or things along those lines. That's my personal take on things that I think is most likely. But there are other possibilities as well that are completely valid and definitely worth consideration. For example, and I'll be posting a much more in-depth look at this idea in a few days' time, it's possible that the Raven doesn't necessarily influence the gameplay on Der Eisendrache in the sense that it's not going to pull a plunger out of the air and go, "Here, I'm a sucker for medieval castles, so here's a sucker for toilets." Oh my goodness. It's not going to do that, or at least I don't think it's going to, but it certainly could influence the game in some way on a deeper level that we can't really understand or comprehend or observe just yet, but might do in the future, in DLC 3, in DLC 4, things like that. If you remember the Easter eggs in Exo Zombies, there were certain things in there towards the end, that trophy cabinet, or rather the trophy sort of showroom desk thing, where you could see which Easter eggs you had done and you had trophies for each one. That sort of idea could easily be played on here, and in DLC 4, there could be a sort of trophy room, and depending on whether you've killed the Raven or not in Der Eisendrache, there could be a Raven or there could be an empty space stuffed on the wall or something along those lines. There are lots of possibilities, and so I do think that it's worth potentially keeping tabs on things like this. It's certainly worth thinking about the lore implications of a Raven being there in the first place, but there's also possibility that something later down the line could get affected by something like this that we just can't see right now. I'm going to wrap things up there. I could waffle about this for a little bit longer, but I feel like you guys like these shorter videos from me these days, so I'm going to cut things off. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, leave a like, and I'll see you next time. Short and sweet. Bye-bye.